This is Rogue Wing, Coraline, or Helen RD over at Starship Modeler. Welcome to the workshop. Alright, going to take a break now from the work in progress stuff to get back to some new builds. Starting with one that's been sitting on my shelf now pretty much since I bought it a couple of years ago. It's the second one of the Moebius models 1/32 scale Viper Mark II kits that I bought. Actually the third. The second one wound up my Mark III project from a little while ago. But this one I'm going to take a little differently. It's going to be mostly out of the box with a couple of key differences. Titling this build Angel Flight or Starbuck's Last Ride basically is a tribute to the sequence in the Season 3 finale, Season 4 opener, where Starbuck, seemingly back from the dead, slides into formation next to Apollo. To accomplish that, you're going to need some different markings. The kit markings have her as Lieutenant Cara Thrace, so I've got ones I drew up for Captain Cara Thrace, and the Viper number she was flying at the time was 8757NC. So I'll be using those instead of the supplied kit markings. But almost all the rest of the markings are going to come out of the kit decals. Now I have gotten started. There were a couple of small modifications I needed to make to the kit itself. First thing I had to do, you might be able to make out my sanding marks, but little else. Embossed on the bottom of the fuselage here was Moebius's logo and stuff. So I went ahead and sanded that off. Now, one small flaw with the Moebius kit is with the landing gear bay doors when you're going to build it in the flight position. Namely, they just molded the doors one piece, no seam. So what I did is I took my scribing tool and went ahead and ran it along the seam to get the seam between the doors evident. The biggest area where that became a problem was on the nose gear door, where it was basically just a single square of plastic. I'm a little off center with it, but I went in and scribed a line for the door seam. That's where we sit right now. Hope you enjoy the build. Alright, got the first bit of work done on her. Have our landing gear doors in place. As you can see, that seam I carved does help. It'll probably help more once I get it primered. Alright, basic assembly of the cockpit tub itself has been done. Admittedly, all I've really gone in and done is added the control stick and the throttle handle. Sidewalls I haven't installed yet. That'll wait till I get at least the coat of primer on all of these pieces. I've gone ahead and installed the screen in the front panel. I don't plan on using the decals, so this actually won't hurt too much. Given the fact you're not going to see a lot in the cockpit, I'm not too worried about hiding the details. So let's face it, once I get Starbuck's figure in the cockpit, most of the cockpit detail disappears. Once I get that all done, we'll see where we're sitting. Moving along with the build, what I've done is I've gone in and given the cockpit pieces a base coat of Tester's Model Master Gunship Gray as a primer. Then I've gone in with a black wash to help bring out the shadows. I haven't put a wash on the seat because I intend to paint that a different color from the rest of the cockpit, and then I'll go in and give it a separate black wash. Once the wash is dry on the cockpit, I'll go in and dry brush the details with probably silver to bring the details back out and to lighten it back up a bit. And then once that's done, I'll go in and pick out the dials and monitors with black and put a quick coat of future over them. Alright, while waiting for the cockpit to dry, decided to go ahead and get started on arguably the last thing I can really do until I start doing major assembly, that being the wings. I want to really thank Moebius, or congratulate them as the case may be, on a superbly engineered kit. Using the Tester's liquid cement, I've gone ahead and glued the wings together, done some minor sanding on the seams, and the seams have pretty much disappeared. It's almost like that was cast as one piece. Same goes for this wing. The seam here is a little more visible on this wing because I had some flaking off on the sanding stick, and that's actually pigment from the sanding grit on the sanding stick I was using more than an actual seam line showing. But you know, I've just been basically working in there with the sanding stick. Yeah, tack it from the other side, and most of it, and what little was left of that seam's pretty much gone. Good. The rudder went together really well. Only the faintest hint of a line along the middle. Another reason I want to thank Moebius for a superbly engineered kit is just how fast this is all going. I mean, while waiting for one thing to be drying, I can move on and do something else in the meantime, and this should be another really quick build once all is said and done. Alright, last update and what has been a very busy day on the Angel Flight build. At this point, we are basically calling the cockpit done. Gone in, painted the seat up with Model Master Interior Green. Decided I'm not going to put a wash over it because you can actually see the detail fairly well. I've gone in, picked out all the dials in black, and then given them a quick coat of future to make them stand out. So at this point, cockpit is done. With all the other sub-assemblies I've got done so far, actually going to have not that much to do construction-wise left on this thing once all this has a chance to set up and dry. Of course, I still have to work on the pilot, and then will come the fun of major assembly.